baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. Today, we're heading to Reptar Land to answer the question, does Rugrats in Paris still have that early 2000s fun? Or has the sequel aged like a bottle of milk left in the sun?
I'm gonna get some mommy, and I bet she's gonna be clean and cuddly and nice.
Plus, will Seth stump me in this episode's trivia question? Or am I the bravest dog in the world?
True or false? This is the only full-length feature film Susan Sarandon has ever made with a G rating, true or false?
Finally, we'll answer the most important question. How are we gonna rate it? Are you gonna take it home? Are you gonna watch it at Grandma's? Or are you gonna hide it in the attic? So pack your diapers and grab a croissant. It's time to watch another movie at Grandma's. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Welcome to Movies at Grandma's House, where we love to look at the movies from our childhood to answer the question, does it still hold up? And is it family-friendly enough that even Grandma can enjoy? And I'm your host, Isaac. Remind me to eliminate whoever wrote this horrible song.
And this is Seth. A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
Oh, it's great to see you, Seth. I think this is one we're very familiar with, but just as a reminder for the ones at home, what is Grandma putting on for us to watch today?
Rugrats in Paris.
So if you've never seen this movie, we are going to be talking about it in depth, so consider the spoiler territory going forward. You have been warned. Well, let's get some more information about this movie and some film facts. So Rugrats in Paris, the movie, was released back on November 17th, 2000. It had a budget of $30 million. The box office, $103.3 million. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb has a 6.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is a 76%. Letterboxd has a 3.3 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, YouTube Premium, Sling TV, Fubo TV, and many more, so no shortage on being able to stream it for free. It stars E.G. Daily, Christine Cavanaugh, Susan Sarandon, John Lithgow, and many more. It is in association with Nickelodeon Movies, Klasky Csupo, and Paramount Pictures. And last but not least, we have to hear, how does Grandma feel about this one?
So Granny's family-friendly rating for Rugrats in Paris, the movie, is a B+ for brief language and adult themes.
Yeah, some little surprises in there. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more. But if you watch the TV show, I think you're going to understand what kind of humor is in there, some potty humor, literally, and little things sprinkled in there that maybe will go over the kids' heads, but adults will catch on to. But we'll talk about it more at length. We want to hear from you, though. Make sure you drop us a comment below of your memories and how you would rate the film. We'd love to hear your feedback. Well, let's jump into this, Seth. I'm anxious to hear again, 2000. This is when this came out. It was 26 years ago. So I got to know, what are your first memories with the movie?
So I saw this one when it was newer a couple times, but it really had been a long time since I saw this going into this one.
Yeah, this is, I think back, not as hyped up as the original movie. When the first movie came out, that was a big deal. I mean, the TV show, we've talked about it when we reviewed the first one, how big the TV show was. This felt like kind of an afterthought, but I still have memories of seeing the ads. I faintly remember seeing it. I don't remember like hating it, but it didn't have much memory. So it was kind of fresh coming back to this one, to be honest. I just couldn't put my finger on like anything memorable about it, if that makes sense. But with that said, again, 26 years ago, what were your expectations going back on the rewatch?
So I just expected to laugh because I was a fan of the franchise.
Yeah, you got to be. If you're going to watch this, I think you have to watch the TV show first. We kind of talked about that, of you're going to be more familiar with the TV show, and they take that into account. We'll jump into more about how the pacing is and things like that. They just go right into it. Like, you know these characters. So that was kind of my expectations too. My kids love the show. We've been going through the series, so this was right up their alley. But I was still like, I hope they enjoy it. I hope it's something that they can laugh about and just have a good time with. That's all about Rugrats in the end. Well, before we get to Plot Rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right, let's take that orange VHS tape out of the cover. Let's put it in the VCR and press play.
This time we join the Rugrats crew as Chucky wants a new mom. Stu gets a call to help with a design he made for Reptar Land in Paris, a new amusement park. The entire family travels and all sorts of hijinks ensue. Chaz decides he wants to start dating again. But will he fall for the wrong person? Join us as we watch Rugrats in Paris from the comfort of Grandma's house.
Very nice. Yes, this is, again, if you're familiar with the TV show, this kind of takes it in a different direction. A lot more deep themes going on with it. As you mentioned, this is about family elements. And the whole TV series, there's maybe those fans that were like, what about Chucky's mom? Well, this kind of answers it a little bit. We'll talk about it more about the series because they do go into it in more depth in the TV series. But this is a great starting point for those that were wondering, well, what's going to happen? You know, Chaz is a single parent raising Chucky. He's 2 years old. That's a big task. I think to myself, wow, having, a 2-year-old and you're a single parent, that's a lot to take on. But that's what kind of hits me. It's a little different, but it's got that familiar Rugrats, humor and all the chaos that they bring with them. Those kids they seem to find trouble at every corner. They don't know how to avoid it. It just finds them more than they find it. But I got to know, what's kind of your first impressions as you're watching the film?
So it brings back a lot of memories, just as the first Rugrats movie did. But I have to say, I've got a lot of nostalgia goggles on for this one. So, this franchise meant a lot to me growing up. And so it rang true when I watched this one for sure. For nostalgia.
Yes. I was going to say that has to be the case for a lot of people. I think when they think of this as the nostalgia. 2000. I mean, there's so much in the Nickelodeon when it was big. Because I'll be frank, I'm more partial to the 90s and a little bit as it gets in the 2000s. That was right there in kind of that sweet spot. You can enjoy just endless reruns of 90s. It was a great time to have Nickelodeon. That's all I'll say. And this was kind of in that hype. So it just feels at home when you go back. Even all these years later, you're putting on the first one, you're putting on this one. It just feels like that comfort food, kind of like taking you back to the times when you could just be a kid and enjoy Nickelodeon. But the plot, I really like the changing it up. Like the first one kind of played it safe. It felt like kind of an episode. This one went a few steps further. It was throwing in, again, that element of Chucky's, wanting a mom. But there's a fun little side plot with Stu trying to repair this Reptar machine that he built. So it's kind of a continuation from the first film. I kind of like that. So what'd you think of the story and the plot overall?
I thought it was a strong plot, a lot to work with, and the basis of the film was good for the full-length feature.
Yeah. And you're talking a new environment. They're going to France. So now you have a whole host of new characters. I was kind of surprised. I forgot how many new characters there were. That you have Kimmy, kind of the new Rugrat that's in there. But there's other ones. I mean, you have the villainous Coco there. I mean, she's voiced by Susan Sarandon. So there's a fun amount of what you're familiar with, but they also make it fresh and new. So I got to applaud them for that. They could have went the safe route again, just had some kind of hijinks going on locally. But they were like, we got to up the ante a little bit. We got to make this a little more interesting and throw in some new stuff. And I think they did a good job with that overall. The plot is, Coco's wanting this job and they want a family person. She hates kids. And so she latches on to Chaz, who obviously doesn't have a wife. And she's just marrying him simply for that position. But you have also this love interest that Chaz has, her secretary. So it's a really fun story. I mean, it's not too loaded or too layered. It's just pretty much your basic, I dare say, like a lot of movies do, like weddings that need to be stopped because they're going to be with the wrong person. Like, I object and all that. It has that in this. Absolutely. That's what happens at the end. But I still can respect it. I mean, what you're here for is the Rugrats fun at the end of the day, for sure. But what'd you think of the characters then? We kind of touched on it. I mean, we got the familiar faces, but add in the new ones. What'd you think of them overall?
Honestly, I love the old and the new, both alike. They were just great. They really fit in. The new characters fit in well. The voiceovers were just most welcome. I thought they casted well, and it just played off really well.
Yeah. I'll say the voice acting was solid. I will point out there's something about Chaz's voice was a little off to me. I don't know if the actor, his voice changed in some shape or form, if he had a cold, but it didn't feel as familiar. That's one knock I will. Overall, the voice acting was great. Like you mentioned, the new faces, I think they were good. Everybody else seemed like they were about the same, but he seemed a little off. Am I alone in that, or did you notice a little difference? It was specifically Chaz, I noticed.
I noticed a little difference. I noticed it more towards the beginning. I think I must have got used to it as it went on. But I did notice it was a little bassier than normal.
Yeah.
If that sounds right. I don't know if that's what you picked up or not, but
bassy or like nasally. I know he's already
he's already nasally.
Right. He's got, I don't know, still, he has that already. But I don't know what it was. It didn't bother me too bad, but I was kind of like, I don't know. I almost was wondering if they recasted, but I don't think they did. As far as I know, it was the same actor. But I mean, the other knock, and this is a me thing, but Rugrats had, I would say, like a season when they started out. It was really rough animation. And it's really fascinating when you look at the creators. They did that on purpose. They said they wanted the animation to be kind of ugly, quote unquote, but that would make it unique. So they kind of hit their stride a few seasons in. And I think that's the best Rugrats, the story, the animation, and everything. After the first Rugrats movie, they changed the animation up a little bit. I'm just not a fan of the new one. I don't know if it's just, I like old stuff. So when they changed it, it was just something about being a change in the animation. What did you think of the animation style? Because it's still the Rugrats, don't get me wrong, but it is more of that newer, whatever you want to call it, not rebooted, but the updated animation.
Yeah, I thought it was more theatrical than the first one movie. For me, it was more pleasing. I don't know if it was maybe. It was kind of jarring, I think, for the first movie because you were expecting it to be the same as the episodes, and it wasn't. But then when this movie came forward, it's like they did it right. If you ask me, I think they did a really good job.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. I was the opposite, but I know that's probably a me thing, and I was even thinking that because, I mean, look at the numbers. The Rugrats was a success, not just in that first run that I'm talking about, but even after the movie, it was even more popular. You can almost argue of getting a bigger audience. And animation, that's not everything. Like I said, I think the animation's good. It's just maybe a one I wish they would have went back to the more traditional. I'm more partial to it, but that's just a me thing for sure. Now, what did you think of Coco? Because she was kind of an interesting character, wouldn't you say?
Quite the character. She had moments that were funny, but then most of the moments were like kind of like in your face a little bit. And I felt the character was slightly forced, but it wasn't the voice acting. It was more the writing, directing. But I enjoyed the character. It was still nice.
Yeah, I do. I'm glad you said that. I felt it was a little forced. It's voiced by Susan Sarandon. She's a legendary actress, and she does a good job with what she's given. I agree. I think it's more of a writing thing. If she's being forced, of you are wanting to dislike her. I mean, yeah, it's kind of messed up because this does have a lot of heart. Going back to like the story and the plot of Chucky is wanting a mom. He's carrying around a teddy bear that his mom had given to him, and at the end, like during the wedding, she's like, "Give me that! I want to throw it away." It's just like, okay. How do you like this person at all? Like, she's really just a terrible person. Like, it's not hurting anything. He's just holding the bear. And it was that, I especially when you said force, that's one that comes to my mind. Like, okay, you're kind of forcing us to try and dislike her, but I still think it was a good dynamic. What did you think of the other, what would say mother, the actual spoilers, ends up being the mother at the end, the secretary?
I loved her character. She fit right in, and this was you said it was Kimmy, I think it is.
Yeah, Kimmy was the daughter, and that's
daughter.
Terrible.
Yeah, they both fit in really well. I thought I was really pleasantly surprised with the new characters in this one, and I thought that they really just meshed well with everybody, and it just worked. It just worked.
Yeah. I was trying to look up her name, and that's terrible. We do a bad job of remember the name. I know Coco is one. You can't forget her. She's kind of the central driving force of the plot, but she's kind of that villainous, one that's throwing a wrench in everything because Chaz actually hits it off with her name, and she has Kimmy. So it's just like, yeah, it is a great match that they have children, they're single parents, and they have some common interest that come to find out they have a favorite poem that Chaz recites and Coco ends up hating at the wedding. So those types of things. But I think the characters do well. They just really blend in well when it comes into the rest of the game. I mean, Tommy, Chucky, Phil, Lil, they're who you expect. They've got some great lines as usual. But I really liked her character too. I think that's probably my favorite. And maybe you can argue also she's kind of forced of like being too nice. but I like it. I think that was what this story needed for, like I said, how extreme Coco was at times. Like you kind of needed something to balance it out a little bit. So, but yeah, anything else that you want to touch on, scenes or quotes like that?
I got a couple quotes and then a scene. So my first quote I've got is, I see London, I see France, I see Coco's underpants. When I watched this a few times for the podcast, and the first time I watched it, I was like, that's not funny. And then I watched it again, I was like, that's really funny. And then I loved, my favorite quote of the whole movie is, over my dad's potty instead of my dead body.
And that's what's so great about Rugrats. They have that play on words when they're quoting stuff. And that's, you're going to see more of that here. They do a good job of that. I think it was funny how just the parents were so oblivious still this time. Like they're in Paris and they let Spike run free and nobody even like asks about it. But by this point, you're used to it, I guess. But I mean, if you really pick these parents, it's like, man, these have got to be the worst parents ever. They just, they let them go free, even in a foreign country. It's just like that. My parent side kicked in, I want to say several times of like, but I still appreciate it. Like you brought out those quotes. I really like that. I like the humor of the goo that stuck to Phil. He like pulls stuff out of his diaper and he's still got the goo from that ride, the amusement ride they're on. And my kids were dying laughing during that. He's like, obviously the potty humor coming out, the fart, the bubble comes out. Yeah, they thought that was hilarious. So it's right up your alley. It's got the quotes. It's got the silly humor. Again, the parents just neglecting. If you find humor in that, it's all there on a nice little package in the movie. So
I've got more than just one scene, but I'll kind of group it together. So I love the Bob father of it all. Like that to me was really well done. How they kept bringing that back to the storyline. And then the kids were just so cute in those scenes and adorable. And it really made me belly laugh. And then seeing them that way was a great way to push the story forward. So overall, I thought that those were the best scenes for me. Like the Bob father, I just thought that was really cute. And I wanted more. Like I wanted more to go deeper, but it was just really great.
I agree. Those were like the strong parts of the movie. Like if I'm going to be frank, it wasn't all consistent, but there were moments like that I really wish there was more of. Like I agree with you. I wish they would have kind of, not that it had to always be like the Bob father, but the pop culture references and the play on, like it's just fun. Like I enjoy that. Another quote that just came to my mind, like they're doing the Reptar musical, and I thought of you actually because Phil's like, I hate when they sing. I just thought of that. I was like, that's another quote I really liked because it's all this dramatic singing and stuff, and I was like, that's probably a great way to describe Seth. And yes, I agree. I don't like when they just bust into singing all of a sudden, but there's a fun time here. Yeah, the play on like just things, references you're going to get, like you said, like the movie. There's a few pop cultures if you pay attention, you'll have a good time with. So, okay. I am excited because I'm sure you've got some interesting fun facts.
Well, you touched on a couple of them, which is great. Oh. So the first fun fact I found was that actually the DJ for the wedding was Klasky Csupo.
Yes.
Like I thought they were just paying homage to him, but that was Klasky Csupo, and that's a really good get. I love that.
Yes, that's such a fun scene, and that's where we kind of touch about like the heart. That one, I was watching also with my wife, and she was like, you didn't tell me this movie was going to like be so heartbreaking, make you want to cry because they're showing like the mother child dance and Chucky's standing there alone.
Yeah.
But the DJ made light of it. Like, I'm so glad they put Klasky Csupo in there because that's such a heavy like moment. And it's nice for the plot to really show like Chucky really wants a mom, but it did need to lighten the mood. I was so happy when they had some nice humor in there to kind of balance that out.
Also, so this was the shortest Rugrats movie with a runtime of 1 hour and 18 minutes. That's with the credits. So it was very, very short.
It was. It did kind of, as much as it was new, it did feel like an extended episode in a way. I mean, it's theatrical, that kind of way. But yeah, you are right. It did kind of feel short, but I'm not going to complain. It told a complete story overall.
Hey, for me, that's the sweet spot. Like if you get right around there for a children's film, that's going to keep my attention really well. So
me too. I agree with you.
So the next one was, and then you talked about this. I can't believe you talked about it. So no one actually cares or is concerned about Spike the entire film. Like he is literally roaming the streets and no one's looking for him. No one brings him up. There's no reference to him. It's just Spike's gone.
I did. That was one thing that kind of bugged me. I will admit. I was just kind of like, okay, I get he needs the room, but if they could have just at least mentioned them, like even like a really subtle, like Stu
Yeah.
gets off the phone and it's like anything. No, they still haven't found Spike anywhere. I would have been satisfied. You know, it's just,
I'm right there with you.
but it works. It's fine. You just kind of put it out of your head, I guess.
And then you also touched on our fun fact trivia question, but are you ready for it?
I guess I'm ready if I touched on it. All right, here we go.
All right. So true or false again. I promise I won't always do true or false. I promise.
Oh, it's fine.
It's true or false. This is the only full-length feature film Susan Sarandon has ever made with a G rating, true or false.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I'm trying to go through her movies, and I don't think she normally is. So that's why it's a good one. Oh man, I've been doing good at these true or false, and I hope I don't screw it up this time. But I'm gonna go with the true.
You are right.
All right.
So true, although she has been in a great number of PG movies. This is her only G-rated feature-length film.
Wow, that's still surprising to me. I mean, I said true, but I was kind of like, I'm still unsure. Like maybe she did.
And she's made a lot of PG movies. I looked them up. I looked all of them up. And I was like, wow, there's not one G except for this one. So that's cool because it's notable. It's a little, asterisk next to her movies there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. But I was still unsure about it. But hey, I mean, keep the true or false coming. I'm doing pretty well on this so far. I have no complaints how that's going to go. But yes, still on the winning track. So I will take it. All right. Well, let's take a look around the net. We just like to kind of see what kind of viewpoints, what kind of opinions are out there. So Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
I didn't get many long reviews, but here's some. The first one was my favorite, Little Songbird. Little Songbird says, very enjoyable and sweeter and funnier than the first film, 8 out of 10.
Very nice. And that's nice to see a familiar face. We haven't heard from Little Songbird in a while, but that is it's a sweet, they wanted to really go for more heart this time. Yeah. I think it does have a stronger plot. I don't think you can fault the first one because that's probably what people were expecting, that kind of a story. This one just goes deeper. This one has more layers going on to it for sure. So that's a good one. Yeah.
The first movie was like just elongated episodes. I mean, it didn't feel like a movie. And this did. This had its own strengths. I mean, I really appreciate what they did with this. Yeah. The next one is Steven Berg says, a Lost Rugrats classic, 8 out of 10.
Okay, another 8. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of overlooked. Like I said, it didn't feel like it was amped up as much. So I kind of agree with that. Like it's kind of missed because I think maybe that hype was starting to die down or just maybe it didn't appeal because they're in France. People wanted another first one where it's familiar. That would be my guess. But I mean, it's still solid. Yeah, for sure.
So Mel's said, such a nice and heartfelt movie. And Kimmy is awesome. 8 out of 10.
I do like Kimmy. We didn't touch on her character as much. She has a great balance of kind of putting Angelica in her place because, there's the familiar hijinks. We didn't talk actually as much about the original gang. I mean, they have their moments. They have some great times, but you throw in Kimmy and it's normally Angelica putting all of them in line. Kimmy kind of throws a wrench in a lot of her plans. It's kind of fun to watch, especially when they're in the big mecha Reptar and Angelica's getting tossed around and Kimmy's on the other hand just fine. And she's actually the one that gets up in there when Angelica falls out. So I don't know, I like that dynamic. And they needed kind of another girl to throw in there to do that, to kind of throw in the mix. So yeah, she's another, I think just her and her mom, they were a welcome addition for sure.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So one other thing we like to do, we like to put it through the kid test. And this is going to be another easy one. We've had some movies that were pretty easy for negative reasons here recently, but this one's on the positive. So I have 4 children that are able to take in movies 10, 8, 6, and 3. And I'll just say simply, they all loved it. They love the Rugrats. We are going through the series, like I mentioned, but we are the 3rd time through already. They have seen this series 2 times all the way through, and they're going through it a 3rd time. So
wow.
You say Rugrats movie, they are there in a second, no hesitation. They love it. They're giggling. They're laughing. They get into even the story. I mean, it was holding their attention and entertaining them. And my 6-year-old actually wanted to watch it again. So he got to watch it twice, on his own. That tells you this passes the kid test. I mean, it's got the potty humor and stuff, but I mean, it's just relatable. A bunch of babies going around. There's just something about that. I mean, as a kid, I loved it too. So it's just so much fun to watch it with my kids, see them enjoy it. And I don't know. I mean, there's a few things we'll maybe talk about in our final review. There's a little things here and there, but it's nothing I don't think you should be too concerned as a parent about. Well, let's get down to it. Let's put our official seal on it. So I'm going to start with you, Seth. I'm going to ask you the question for Rugrats in Paris, the movie. How are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
All right, so I really enjoyed this one. It had some flaws, but I think the great things outweighed the misfires here, which there were only a few of. I will say I watched this 3 times in preparation for the podcast.
Wow.
Each time I liked it more and more. And that doesn't normally happen. So I will take this home because I really dug it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if with you're mentioning the flaws there, but I can understand that. Yes. If you're a fan of Rugrats, you're going to love this one. I got a confession to make. It kind of goes along with what you're saying. I watched this twice. Like I mentioned, watched it with all my kids. And then came a time where my 6-year-old wanted to watch a movie and he was just like, I want to watch this again. So I got to watch it again with him. The first time through, I'll be honest, I was actually going towards a hide it in the attic because there's a lot of it felt off to me when I first watched it. I mean, there's some cringe moments. We didn't talk about the sumo wrestler scene. The dream that Chucky has is just kind of out there. There's a lot of those where, to me, it was like, oh, it's kind of killing this momentum that I was starting to really get into. And sometimes you can overlook it, but it just felt like, And I go back to like the Coco character. Susan Sarandon is great, but she did feel forced. We kind of touched on that. I felt like it wasn't the Rugrats I grew up with, if that makes sense, the first time viewing it. Now, the little twist is when I saw it the second time, I came to appreciate it a lot more. I was able to get more into that Chucky and Chaz storyline, just what they've gone through. And I think that's what's the strength of this movie. If you look at the few new characters and the old gang, I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just like relatable stuff I was picking up on. They go on this long flight to France and they get in there and Stu is like, hey guys, you want to go? And they're all just passed out, like sleeping. I know that's such a little detail, but I was like, I like that because that's totally an adult thing of just, you go on a trip and then you just want to sleep. Like it captured some things. As much as these parents are not going to win an award for being a parent, they're terrible parents. They do some things you can relate to in that way. So I liked it enough. I'm going to watch this at grandma's. I would not mind coming back to this one. Like, this is a fun time. It isn't a perfect movie, though. I don't know if it's just me. Like I said, the animation didn't quite click with me as much, but it's not a bad movie at all. I could definitely enjoy this one again. I certainly did the second time through with my 6-year-old. We had a great time with this one. So if you're a fan, whether or not, if you're like me with the animation, you should still have a great time. No doubt about it. You're going to feel like it's another, catching up with old friends kind of a feeling. Well, there you go, folks. We got another one in the book. This is another sequel that we covered. So, we're going to just keep adding to it. This has been a great time, though. We are just having so much fun going through all these old movies, reliving the nostalgia. This was definitely one of them. I would mark this one. Well, before we wrap up and go, why don't we tell the good people where they can find us? So, Seth, where can people find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Movies at Grandma's House, and on TikTok at LADX Media. Feel free to email us movie suggestions, memories, comments to moviesatgrandmashouse@gmail.com. And we have a very excellent newsletter, so check that out, as well as a new Patreon with exclusive content for loyal fans. So as always, we are brought to you by movieposters.com. So please use code Grandma's House, that's all one word, at checkout for up to 15% off.
All good stuff there. Yeah, be sure to drop us a line if you want. We actually are starting to hang out a little bit on Threads. It's kind of like X. So if you want to directly chat with us, we got a lot of fun movie discussion going on. So head on over there. But all those other links, you can find us on those platforms as well. We've just been kind of getting some movie discussions going on there. So be sure to check us out there. And again, like Seth said, make sure you're on our newsletter. We love giving away free posters because we give away one a month courtesy of movieposters.com. It's a lot of fun. And all you got to do is be on our newsletter. It's free to sign up. So don't miss out. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.